Hello, this is a follow-up visit to this Ibach, which was an overdamper. We've converted it into an underdamper, and this is about a year and a half on, so I'm just checking it and fine-tuning it. If you could refer back to the video of this when it was an overdamper, you'll see totally different damping system. I'll try and put a link on, and you'll see where the holes have been filled, where the anchor points for the system were. And this is a brand new action. The whole action is new. It's even got new capstans here, and made by Deter. It's a Czechoslovakian company. Make action for Petrov as well. Arbel hammers, as you can see. So the hammers are Arbel, one of the two top companies in the world, well, he's certainly in Europe anyway, Arbel and Renner. And as you can see, the action is like a modern action. And let's see how good the job has turned out. Now, the client was mentioning that there's a slight difference in tone here, and I've had to voice the hammers, but this is quite normal on an older piano, Bechstein's particularly. You get a difference in tone from the break point between there and there. And I've voiced the hammers to disguise it a bit, but they're still there. And that's something that you can only improve by capping the bridge. So here's the bridge at that point. It has been recapped, so it has improved the tone there. We had to recap it because the bridge was slightly split anyway in places. Soundboard as well has been refurbished, as you can see. And it's original soundboard. You could change the soundboard, and you may manage to get more down bearing here with a new soundboard, but you'd lose the tone of the original Ibach doing that. So I don't think that would be the right answer. And besides which, this task is, as you can imagine, very expensive to do. But I would like to think that buying a new piano at the price that this costs to do was similar to redoing this one. And this was a piano in the family as well. I'm actually zeroing in on the fact that it's a 3/4 plate, and that might worry technicians, thinking that it's not full iron frame. It's what we call 3/4 plate. But in fact, Ibach 3/4 plates, as along with Steinway 3/4 plates and other top makes, and are just as good, really, just as stable, it seems, as pianos that have got full iron frames. They're just so well made, really. And you can see the rest plank here has been changed. Tuning pins are very, very tight. So it's like a new piano. And down the bottom here, the soundboard's been shimmed as necessary. You see the shim gone there, and the soundboard's been bleached to match that shim. Some people don't like bleaching. I haven't really noticed it making any difference to the tone, and it's certainly cosmetically nice. And there we have just a beautiful feature on Ibach's, this little knob. They've even put them on modern pianos as well. Ibach's just gone out of business, unfortunately, but the firm that's taken them over is they're now made in the Far East. There's the Ibach logo on the back, and the same, obviously that's been replaced when the soundboard was done, but as you can see, it's fully restored. It is expensive, but not more expensive than a top quality new piano. You might wonder why we bother to change the overdamper action, and it's obviously to get cleaner damping. And around this point, really overdamping here, the dampers are so close to the top of the string that they don't damp very well at all. And that might be all right for certain romantic music, but for lots of styles of music that require a clean cut-off, you really do need underdampers. And here, it rings on a lot. The overdamper sounds, let's put the pedal halfway down, sounds a bit like this, where it's damping but only just. So it's definitely an improvement on the damping. But the Ibach overdampers, as with Blüthner, we did a Blüthner upright overdamper at the same time, and both of them we're really pleased with the results. And just to say that the bass tone here, as on Blüthner's, it's incongruous to leave the original bass strings, but they do sound slightly better, unfortunately, the replacements, however good the string maker is. And these strings are extremely well made, as you can see by the finishing off. If you're in the trade, you'll appreciate the fact that this string maker's made the right length of all the strings, which is the task that the string makers are, well, that's the sign of a good string maker. And obviously the tone of the strings is good, but it's lost very slightly of the original. The breakpoint's very good, and the match between the bottom treble, the slightly out of tune. I'll have to do that as a finishing off task. Well, I've pitch raised this piano by about 6 beats, so, and it's now been left at 442, which means that the next tuning hopefully will be about 441 or 440. The strings are still settling in, but generally wonderful tone throughout. So that's a follow-up visit of this Ibach piano, 1905 by the way. It was an overdamper. White Ibach and Blüthner was still making overdampers when everyone else was making underdampers. Bechstein, for instance, who overtook them. There was plenty of Blüthners around and Ibachs, and really I think it was a mistake. I'd like to hear opinions in the trade as to why they carried on making overdampers. I haven't really researched it as much as I'd like to, so it'd be wonderful if you could find out a bit more about that. But we're really pleased with the result. It's just lost possibly a little bit of the tone of the original Ibach, but certainly having an underdamper is an advantage for modern. You couldn't get that kind of cut off if it was an overdamper, which is required in so much music. Around this area, you see where the dampers run out there. It echoes so much on an overdamper. So if you've got an Ibach and you want to keep it in the family, or you just love the piano, you love the tone of it, then we'd love to change it from an overdamper to an underdamper. Later Ibachs, I'm not sure what date exactly, but we've sold some Ibachs that are slightly later date, perhaps about 1920, and they've been underdampers, and excellent pianos too. Thank you very much for listening.